2128 here. And I've been resurrected. Anyway, welcome to NFL Weekly Pick and Pound, Season 6, Week 7. 14 games in the card. Last week I broke even going 7-7. So, this week, here's how I break it out. Seahawks against the 49ers. I don't think San Francisco thought they were going to be in this big of trouble. Find themselves in a three-way tie with Arizona and Seattle for the top slot in the West. Can they beat the Seahawks? After what happened last week against the Giants, I'm not certain. But I'll stick to them. San Francisco wins. Let's move on. Giants against the Redskins. Last year, Eli Manning had a lot of bad luck against Washington. Defense was all over him. The offense couldn't get clicking. Come to think of it, Eli had most of his worst luck against the Skins. And for that matter, since MetLife Stadium opened, the Giants had their worst luck against the Eastern Division, having only won twice. And if I remember correctly, it was once against Dallas. Was last year, and once against, it wasn't Philly, Washington, no. Wasn't Philly. I don't remember. But, anyway, moving on. Having said that, and with that being said, can Eli finally turn it around against those Redskins? I don't know. If Robert Griffith III is anything like a Michael Vick clone, it could be a problem. Otherwise, if the defensive front four can keep Griffin 3, RG3 contained, this is their best shot to put the demons that the Skins have bugged them with to rest. I'm taking New York to win this one. New Orleans against Tampa Bay. I'm not going to lie, Tampa Bay got off easy last week. They had a game against the worst team in the NFL at this moment, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Saints are coming off a bye week after having finally won their first game of the season. But who do I take to win this one? Part of me wants me to go New Orleans, but on the other hand, given what Tampa Bay did to Kansas City, and the fact that Tampa Bay beat New Orleans in Tampa last year, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. Next up, the AFC matchup of the week, or one of the two. Baltimore against Houston. Ray Lewis is done for the year. Terrell Suggs wants in on Sunday for the Ravens. Texans without one of their middle linebackers. And with him gone, that game against Green Bay pretty much exploited how weak the secondary could be. Texans hope to erase that loss to Baltimore, and I hope they do. I'm going with the Texans to win this one. Up next, Green Bay Packers visiting the St. Louis Rams. Rams are in the basement, of the West, but not by much. But only by a game. But I mean, come on. Who's dumb enough to try and kick a 66-yard field goal, no matter how good the foot of that kicker is? Akers and Janikowski have each... Elam, Janikowski, and Akers have all matched the all-time record for longest field goal of 63 yards, but I don't see anyone breaking it. I mean, Janikowski came close once, but they had to do it over. With Green Bay, I think finally their defense is starting to wake up a little bit. After suffering one controversial loss and two humiliating losses to go with their other loss. Maybe they can turn it around here and now. I'll go with Green Bay to win this. Arizona against Minnesota. Minnesota surprised me. Sure, they got massacred by Washington last Sunday, but start off having won 4 of their first 6, I didn't think they'd do this with Christian Ponder at the helm. Cardinals, by contrast, start off good, but the past 2 weeks have fallen flat on their faces. And on that fact alone, I'm going to go with Minnesota to win this one. Tennessee visiting Buffalo. Well, the Bills' running backs are finally getting their heads together and going full throttle, so I'm going to go with Buffalo. Low in this one. Cleveland against Indianapolis. I'm going Cleveland. Let's move on. Carolina against Dallas. Carolina's going to need something to rebound down after the bye week. I think this game could help a bit because then they get to go to Chicago to face the Bears next week. But I'll go Carolina in my wild card pick. Now for the late games. First up, the CBS prime late game of the week. New York Jets against the New England Patriots. Losers. Between them, the Jets and Buffalo, winners are going to be in a tie for first. Losers in the basement in the East, with Miami off this week. My upset pick, I'll go with the Jets to win this. Next up, Jacksonville against Oakland. Don't know why, but I'm going to go Oakland for this one. Both teams have proven to be pretty bad, but Oakland gave Atlanta quite the scare last week. And you're wondering why I'm going with the Raiders instead of the Jaguars? Well, the Jaguars don't really leave much of an impression on me, even if I am supposed to be. Anyway, up next, Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. Pittsburgh really disappointed me last week. And part of me just wants to go with them this week, but I'm not gonna. Pittsburgh to lose, and Cincinnati to win. Finally, the Monday night game. Lions versus the Bears. Lions got lucky, in my opinion, last week. If Matthew Stafford doesn't get his throwing hand in sync with his receivers, Lions are going to be in for a long season. With that said, I'll take the Bears to win. Because by now, Motown's going to be excited at the hype of the Tigers going back to the World Series for the first time since 2006. And do I believe that this is going to go down? A few of them will go down this way. To be honest, this week I don't see too many games that are really, quote-unquote, lopsided. And if that's the case, we're screwed. Either way, this should be a good picking week for me. That's it. I'm out. Peace. Oh, one more thing. To those, to Touchdown King who beat me this past week on my in the fantasy league on CBS Sports, you got damn lucky, son. But when the season's over, all I gotta say is that I'm sorry about your damn... that I am sorry. Sorry about your damn luck.